Transform your hot yoga floor poses part 3. Now we're going to tutorial. By the way, we're still in the Outer Banks of North Carolina doing a Barkan Method Level 1 200-hour teacher-train program. If you're interested in becoming a Barkan Method teacher, I put links in the description below. This is what Bikram calls the Fix Firm series. Even though Supta Vajrasana, I explained it in the video, means reclining diamond pose, but it's fixed firm, half tortoise, camel, and rabbit. 4 very important poses in the hot yoga world. We're going to head back to the studio at OBX Hot Yoga with soon to be, actually, by the time you see this video, she will be a Barkan Method certified teacher, Haley. So let's head over to the studio and tutorial these poses. In the Barkan world, we call it day 2. It's right out of the Bikram's flow, what he calls fixed firm, half tortoise, camel, rabbit. 4 poses in a row. So one of the things that Bikram and Vishnu Ghosh are notorious at doing is not literally translating the Sanskrit. So they say Supta Vajrasana, fixed firm. Supta actually means, remember? Reclining. Haley got it. Vajra is diamond, or thunderbolt, or lightning. So in Goraksha and Hatha Yoga, the yogi aspires to create the Vajra Deha, which is the diamond body. We do that through moving the circulation, the Kundalini Shakti up the center channel, the Sushumna. It brightens the aura, called the Vajra Deha, the diamond body. So I call it Supta Vajrasana, I call it reclining diamond or reclining thunderbolt. So your knees come together. Haley's going to come up and separate her feet apart and sit between her feet. So your feet separate, and she sits between her feet. The knees stay together. I'm not going to have you go back. Now, to modify, you could separate your knees a little bit, but no further out than the hips. In the Bikram world, they don't mind if you go past, the knees go past the hips. The problem that I have with that is that it's really the hip flexors that are the culprit. It's not the knees that are the culprit. It's the hip flexors, the front of the hips. So if your knees go, bring your knees way out, like on a 45 degree. If your knees go out like that, you're actually bypassing the stretch here in the front of the hips. So I don't mind the knees going out because that gives you a little bit more room. It opens it up if you need to modify. So bring your knees closer together now, but no further out than your hips, so that you're still stretching the hip flexors, and then you can go back from there. Another modification, let's have you now face this way. Throw me another block again, Mr. Maya. You won't see blocks in the Bikram world, but they can be great tools. Another modification is to sit on a block. So she separate her feet, sit on the block. You can even sit on the block, if you need to, up high like this, if you really need it that high. Yeah, some people do. Or, let's go back. If you are going to sit on a block, however, you're not going to want to go back into the pose. So instead, what you're going to do, you can even separate your knees a little bit. Just stay here and breathe. Because what you're doing is now, by sitting in the position, softening the hip flexors, and that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to get these hip flexors to soften, so you would just sit there and breathe. Another modification, let's get the block off. Now, what you can do, I work with all the professional teams in South Florida, especially the Miami Dolphins, where they all had multiple knee problems, both sides. So a lot of them can't sit like this. So what happens is, people make the mistake in fixed firm. They take this leg, let's say her left knee is the culprit, and they straighten it all the way out like that. Do that. Straighten your left leg straight out in the air, that way. And then they go back into the pose. Here's the major problem with that. The major problem with this is you're bypassing Vishnu Ghosh's main intention in creating the style of yoga. Come back up. We're not going to bypass the problem so we can get in the pose. Meaning it's not about the posture, it's about the body. It's not about, okay, do what you can to get down into the proper position. Don't think that you're doing the posture so that you can look good in the pose. You're doing the posture to help heal the body or to get rid of whatever blockages that you have. So instead, come on back up. What I had a lot of the dolphins do too, Miami Dolphins, I'd have them come forward, put their hands on the floor out in here, and lift your butt up off the ground. Separate your knees a little bit. And I'd say, and you can separate your feet, yeah. And I would go next to them and I'd stay in that same position. And I'd say, can you do this? And they go, well, that I can do that. Great. This is your starting point. This is where you're going to go. The hands are going to take the pressure off the knees, which is the culprit. Now she can start walking her hands back a little bit. I might say right there. Let's say that's too much. Come back up a little again. Go to the position that you know you can maintain and just sit there and breathe. The biggest problem people make, they go too far too soon, then they have to come out of it. Somebody tight, if it's tight like this, even though Haley's not tight, but let's imagine she is, she's got to hold this posture longer than somebody that can go into the full position because she's got more resistance that she has to get rid of or eventually loosen up. So now she can slowly work her way back. Eventually she can sit on the ground. But you got to find a position you know you can maintain. And what's your next goal? What is it? I said it 100 times. 1 inch. If you're outside of the United States, 2.54 centimeters. That's it. That's your next goal. It's not the full position. Come forward a little bit more, this way. So they have a knee problem, go back up again. Do this, and most of them, 99% can do it. Okay. That I can do, they get indignant about it. Great, you're doing it, and this is what you want to do. The only time this might not be good, and one of the Dolphins, his name was Terry Kirby, he was a great running back. He did my class almost more than anybody else in the Dolphins, even more than Dan Marino. I actually watched him. When you know the players and you're watching them play, you're as a fan, you're on a different level completely because you know them personally. So now he's running back and he's going across to score a touchdown and his body went this way and his knee went the other way. And you could see, I was like, no, all the work we've been doing is just gone. Anyway, he was smart enough to come back to rehab his knee. And he couldn't sit on the knee. He couldn't sit like this. So we would take a towel, bunch it up and put it underneath his knees. So he had a cushion. But that's the only time, and that's usually unusual. The front of the knee is a problem. So if you can now start working your back, you're going to actually grab your heels. The first step is the right elbow comes back behind you. Then the left elbow. Stay there. That may be as far as you can go. But if you can go further, then the head is next, just the head. Then the shoulders drop down. All in this order. And at the end, grab your elbows over your head. Each elbow, each other. Your lower back automatically arches. You don't want to try to arch it. You don't want to try to get it on the ground. Just let it happen automatically. And there's the full position. Your knees are too far apart, Beth. Now she's going to grab her heels, push up one elbow at a time, push up on her elbows, and she's out of it. In the Bikram world, they have you do Shavasana. We have you do downward dog to get the circulation. Go ahead. Back into the legs. Once you had all that tension on your legs, we've got to get the circulation back in to complete the process. There it is. Okay, sit on your heels for half tortoise. Can you grab a towel from somewhere? 9 o'clock class with Bikram. 10:30 class, no break in between, not even a 5-minute break. 12 o'clock advanced class. Then I'd go at 2 o'clock to LAX and be a bartender till 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, till 10 o'clock. Wake up in the morning and did it again for 2 years.
Every day.
Every day. Except Sunday we took off, and Saturday we did 2 classes. All right, we're back. Half tortoise. This is a great modification. Some people can't sit down on their heels. This is actually, interestingly enough, this position right here is called Vajrasana, diamond pose. But she's sitting on her heels. Bikram would nickname it Japanese style, which I think is politically incorrect now, because a geisha woman would sit like this in Japan. Some people can't sit like this. There's way too much pressure under the knees. Take a towel, lift your butt up, and the towel's going to go underneath the knees and acts as a cushion. And now sit back on your heels, and there's the modification if you need it. Some people do. Okay, if you don't need it, out it goes. Thank you, Matt. So the hips are going to stay on the heels the whole time if possible. Arms overhead, palms together. If you can keep your hips on the heels, great. And you're going to work your way down. Touch your forehead on the floor before the hands touch, if that's possible. Straighten your arms. Straight arms. Lift it like this. Look at me. Lift. So your little fingers are touching down. Like get the head down. Cross your thumbs. Forehead touching, not the nose. Little fingers touching, not the wrists. Hips on the heels. This is the ideal position. A lot of people can't do this. A lot of people cannot get their head on the ground and the hips on the heels. However, it's more important to get the hips on the heels than the head on the ground. So if that's the case, I'd want you to lift your head up. Way up a little bit more. Yeah, and get the hips on the heels. Push this way. So this is, you have to look what she's doing. Mila, look what she's doing. This would be the modification. Opposed to lift your hips all the way up in the air and bring your head on the ground. And straighten your arms. Opposed to that, people say, well, I got to get my head down, and then the hips come up, and the whole idea of the posture is to stretch the lower back. So now you're bypassing the position. So get your hips on the heels, bring your head off the ground. Because this is the magic of this pose. In fact, I don't want you guys doing hands-on yet, but this is one you could do. You just gently press your bring your head down. That would be the final position. So the little fingers touching, not the wrists. Forehead touching, so the chin is up a little bit, not the nose. Hips on the heels. And when I did that, she felt great. Didn't that feel good? Mm-hmm. Ardha Kurmasana, the second incarnation of Vishnu, the tortoise. Okay, come on up. Questions? Ustrasana is next, camel pose. Knees and feet apart, 7 inches distance. People are just going to be resistant to this pose because they're just not used to going backwards, and it's a vulnerable position. It's vulnerable to be up here. 2 modifications we can use. 1, hands on the hips, fingers pointing down, head back, push your hips forward, and there it is. Oh, don't go that far. That would be the modification. People still aren't going to want to do that. It's still vulnerable. People just, I just can't do this pose. That you can do. Just let your head drop. Unless you have a neck issue, of course, then you couldn't do that. Hands on the hips. You're supporting your back with your hands. That's it. It's simple. Second modification that I offer, I got from an Iyengar teacher, and Elise Miller is her name. She specializes with people with scoliosis. She's great. Go up on your toes. Can you move your pants back so they can see you going on your heels? Yep. Going on the toes is more psychological than it is physiological because it's a psychological advantage because it just raises your heels a little bit, but now our head would go back. Grab her right heel first, thumb outside, fingers inside, and then the left heel. Second modification. Come back up. But if you don't need to modify, the feet are flat. Hands on the hips. First move that we do is scooping the tailbone. You won't get in the Bikram world. Second move is to lift the chest to the ceiling, head back. Now she's going to reach back, grab the right heel, then the left heel. And one of the cues, the corrections I'm always saying is you got to get the hands lower. Your hands are way too high. Down more, down toward your toes, down toward your toes. Base of the palm on the base, yes, on the base of the heel. Thumb outside, fingers inside. And you're going to push your shins into the ground. Just now I stabilized her position, and now she goes, oh, thank you, so much better. Your hips are forward, but not too far forward. You don't want the hips to go past the knees. Again, this is in the Bikram world, not in the Barkan world. So your hips are over your knees, and you're lifting from your middle back and chest. And then come up the same way, hands on the hips. And go back, sit down on your heels for a second. There it is. Base of the palm on the base of the heel is the full expression.
I didn't know that was the fullest expression.
Hmm?
I didn't know that was the fullest.
Actually, the full expression, go back, we didn't do it. Go back again. Yeah. Good, go back to the pose, head back. Your hand's gonna come flat like this, right up against that hand. So when you don't have to pull anymore, the hand is flat, fingers together, thumb two, just like a little bit lower, right there. That's the full expression. But there's
still over my knee.
yeah, you're fine. That's because you don't need the leverage anymore. You've got the back bend for it, and then come back up, flat. But I'd rather you still grab, because you need the leverage still. That's like super advanced. Rabbit pose completes fixed firm half tortoise camel rabbit. If you have a towel, wrap it over the back of your heels or yogi toes so you don't slip. We're not going to do it now so you can see the grip. A lot of people, what they do is, one of the big mistakes in the rabbit pose is they want to grab their heels, but they're sitting on them. So they'll put their head down on the ground to lift their hips off the heels. Now they'll grab their heels, and now they'll bring their head into their knees, and then they'll start the pose from here. Come back up for a second. The reason why this is not good to do, because you're losing the whole concept of point A to point B. She just added point C. So instead, you're gonna go as if you're gonna grab your heels. You're gonna bring your, go back up. You're gonna bring your chin to the chest. Now you're gonna start curling down. As your hips come up, eventually you're gonna be able to grab the heels. Just give yourself permission to stop for a second. Your forehead should touch the knees before your head hits the floor, if possible. Go ahead. Now you're gonna grab your heels, lift your hips all the way up to the ceiling until your arms are straight. Keep going, keep going, keep going. See how her hands, your knees and her head sort of came apart. Bring your heels together, and then walk your knees one by one up to meet the forehead. I know you got your hair in the way. Now walk your knees one by one up to meet the forehead. Curl in a little bit more. And this is one of the few poses that men have an advantage to. And that's a good position, but you can still see her back is flat. I'm going to bring that up for a second. We're going to do this one. I'm going to show the difference. Okay, come up for a second. One of the few anatomical differences men and women have, especially in the skeleton, is the women's hips are turned out at a 45-degree angle. Men's hips are parallel. One of the few, except generally men have bigger bones, but that's general. And so this is a posture where we're curling so that if your hips are parallel, it's much easier to round the spine. Here's even more, I'm going to show this on the YouTube. Here's even a more dramatic picture. Here's one person, a woman doing this pose, and her boyfriend, interestingly enough, here's him doing the pose, and you can really see the difference. But let's bring Matt up for a second, and I'll show you. So Matt has magically appeared, and now he's going to curl in, forward on the knees, top of the head on the floor, lifts his hips all the way up to the ceiling, and you can see how much more rounded his back is. Now your heels should come together, thumb outside, fingers inside. Yep. Light pressure on the head, and you can see the curling of the spine. Okay, come up for a second. Come up, relax. Yeah. So we go backwards in the camel and forward in the rabbit. And afterwards, we're going to lay down on Shavasana, because it's a very powerful Shavasana. Yeah, there you go. Because after camel and rabbit, you want the circulation, chin down, chin down. You want the circulation to flow back into the body. Contraction, relaxation, working together. There it is, fixed firm or reclining diamond series. Welcome back to the beach. So that's it. Fixed firm, half tortoise, camel, and rabbit. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. This one workshop was just added I wanted to let you know about. November 13th, 14th, and 15th. I'll be at Yoga Flex in Comac, Long Island, smack in the middle of Long Island. I put links in the description below. We'd love to have you join us. That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.